Hello and welcome back to Bookish, and welcome to my Saturday Hodgepodge, my weekly wrap-up of reading, bookish stuff, booktube stuff, other stuff I want to talk about. Today I want to start off by talking about some responses to a video that I made on Thursday about objectivity versus subjectivity. And in that video, the thing that was responded to most about that video was my display of two different works of art involving a penguin. One by my daughter, which is the top, and one by John James Audubon, a noted naturalist and painter of birds. And in that video I said that, objectively speaking, Audubon's penguin is better painting than my daughter's penguin. And many people took me to task on that, and essentially pointed out that I'd failed to establish the criteria by which I was judging the two pictures and saying one was better than the other. Well, the criteria was realism. I know for a fact that my daughter, when she painted the penguin picture, was trying to paint the most realistic penguin she could, at whatever age that was. I don't remember it all. And so realism was the standard by which I was judging. And so I will stick by what I said, that despite my love for my daughter's penguin painting, which is now back on the refrigerator where it belongs, that the Audubon painting of the penguin is objectively better because it's a more realistic picture of a penguin, even though I like my daughter's picture much better. So I just want to make sure I dealt with that controversy. Controversy is too strong a word for it, but I dealt with that issue right away, that was the criteria I was judging on. But, in thinking about that and reading all those responses and trying to respond to that, I realized that, it was actually a great example of what I was talking about. In that video, I also talked about how I think that it's easier to judge maybe genre fiction objectively than fiction that doesn't fit a genre, which people usually call literary fiction. I really hate that title, but that's what people call it, so I'm going to go ahead and call it that. That because genres have standards that we know about, things, tropes, whatever we want to call them, we expect to see in those, rules perhaps that they have to follow, that for the most part then there are more objective things to review them based on, and we can be more objective about them. And that got me thinking about, how people consume reviews, how people think about art, whether it's art, paintings, or art, as in books and literature, and art, and then just kind of, are some people more comfortable with the things that can be reviewed more objectively than the things that can only be reviewed subjectively? Is that just one of those things that's a difference in people? Do some people prefer things they can review objectively versus subjectively? So what I did here is I put together a little art slideshow that's like the next 4 minutes of this video. So I'll leave a timestamp. If you want to skip the art and just get to the books, you can go beyond that. I put together a little art slideshow in which I show what are admittedly paintings from the Western artistic tradition, from the late 19th century to the, let's say, somewhat late 20th century. I think I have, what is it? I want to say I have like 12 paintings in there. And they kind of are in rough chronological order. I'm sure I have some of them out of order chronologically, but they're in kind of rough chronological order because I think it shows kind of a progression, from my point of view, away from art that could perhaps be judged and reviewed more objectively to art that can only be judged subjectively, back to perhaps kind of art that we might judge more objectively. Kind of seeing this idea of art, as a pendulum swinging back and forth from one extreme to the other, perhaps. Anyway, so what I thought I would do is I put together this, slideshow of art prints, which I'll probably get dinged for copyright on. So, here's a video without advertisements to deal with that. So what I wanted you to do is readers, if you would, or as viewers, if you would, since it's easier to do with this art than with literature, what I wanted you to do with this then as viewers is to just tell me which one of the pictures you like the best, and then if your liking for it had to do with things you could objectively say about it or things you could only subjectively say about it. and then maybe to come up with a word which describes why you like it, whether that word is realism, whether that word is skill, whether that word is emotion, whether that word is idea, whether that word is energy, whatever it is, and to put that in the comment section down below. Now, I didn't name the paintings. I have the paintings labeled by author because that was just easier to come up with the author. I have the paintings labeled by artist. Wow. Because that was easier to come up with. So anyway, here's that slideshow. If you want to participate in my little experiment about objective versus subjective, then do so. Let me know which one you like the best, and then why. Trying to use just one or two words, and then we'll and then whether or not you think that's objective or subjective. Anyway, here are the pictures. Okay, so I have no idea how well it's going to go. I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm shooting this video at night. I usually sit and shoot my Hodgepodge videos during the day on Friday. I was traveling during the day on Friday, so it is Friday night. Long day in the car, sleeping in a hotel room, and so my thoughts may be a little bit more scattered. Hopefully you got the idea that I was going for with the art show. If not, you got to look at some art. So then this week, or last week I should say, in reading, I reread Newpoming. I'd read this the first week as a part of my First Nations reading. I reread this and I liked it even better. I've never in my life, I think, picked up a book immediately after finishing it and reread it, but I did that with Newpoming, and it was even better the second time. It was even more beautiful, the language. Even at night. She can't see out the window, she's still barking. The language felt even more lyrical, the ideas were even more touching and even more beautiful and even funnier the second time. So I did do that, and this book just continues to blow me away. And I will say the other great thing about Newpoming is that it's published by the University of Minnesota Press. So it's actually a university press. So if you wanted to support a university press and First Nations author and read something which I think is just unique and great, then you might think about ordering a copy of Newpoming. I also, because I am reading First Nations authors, both fiction and nonfiction, I also read Our History is the Future by Nick Estes, who is a member of the, I always forget. He's a citizen of the Lower Brule Sioux tribe, and he is a professor. This is essentially a history of Native Americans' fight to defend their land from colonial settlers. That would be people like me, who moved into, whose ancestors moved into what is now the United States of America, appropriated land, dispossessed Native Americans, committed genocide against them, and then, as this book emphasizes, have continued to disrespect the land rights as well as the cultural rights of Native Americans, or First Nations people, since that time. And I thought this book was really well done. This is a great example of history as political statement. So I have this debate with people about history here all the time, and to me, history is something that's not fixed. It's not set. There's not just one version. These are probably all cliches, but that history is an ever-evolving, constantly changing thing, and that the more perspectives we get, whether we agree with them or not, the more ideas we get in our head about the history of anything in the past, the closer we come to an understanding of it. But having said that, you need to know that every historian writes from their own point of view. Every historian has cultural baggage that they bring with them to writing about this, and the same thing is true here with Nick Estes. But I will say this is remarkable, and I thought it was incredibly powerful, and it is a book that people, I think, should read, because it does very powerfully make the case that things like the Dakota Access Pipeline are just part of a long history of the United States government and the American people's abuse of the rights of First Nations people, of Native Americans and their land rights in ways that are illegal and are driven by greed and capitalism. And I just thought this was just great. By the way, I got a recommendation to read this book from Brianna, from Brianna's library. They have a great channel. I recommend them all the time. They haven't put out a video in a long time, I don't think, but still, great suggestions about social history, political history, and this was just great. So then I started reading this week 2 books. I am buddy reading The Yield with Britta Bohler, The Yield by Tara June Winch, who is a First Nations Australian author, and this is going well. I'm enjoying it. For me, the jury's still out. We've just read like the first 100 pages, and I'm still not sure. There's some elements of the book, and you should go watch Britta's video, her Friday Reads video, to hear her talk about it. There's some elements of the book that I'm still unsure about, but to me, the language and the writing have a real kind of beauty and an interesting rhythm all their own, which I really am enjoying. And the story, there are parts of the story which are really captivating too. And then I also started reading The Heartbeat of Wounded Knee by David Treuer, who is an Ojibwe, a member of the Ojibwe First Nation. And it's in a sense, it's covering, I think in a more personal way, perhaps, the same history that Nick Estes' book I just mentioned covered. I had a little bit of a hard time getting started on this, I think because going directly from Estes' book to Treuer's book is kind of slowed me down, but I am getting more into it now and enjoying that, and hope to finish that up in this coming week. All right, so there's my reading. What else? I'm hoping to do tags. I put up on my Friday night, I put up on my, or tonight, which is Friday night, I'm putting up on a community tab, community, whatever you call it, a poll asking you how you want me to deal with the backlog of tags I have. 2 weeks ago I did, or was it last week? I can't remember. Anyway, last week. Anyway, I did one day where I did like 4 tags in one video, and I divided the video up. And so the question on the community tab will be, do you want me to do that? Do you want me to do a tag every day next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? I want to get these tags done. People were nice enough to tag me, and I want to be able to do those tags and give them the attention they deserve. So I'm basically asking, do you want them all at once, or do you want one tag spread out, one tag every day for 4 consecutive days? And then the last thing I want to do in this kind of harried and confusing and not particularly coherent Saturday Hodgepodge, I want to shout out 2 new channels. One is Pete's Pensive, or Pensive. I don't know if it's Pensive from Harry Potter or the word pensive. I don't know if Pete is pensive or if it's Pete's Pensive. Anyway, great channel. I think I mentioned him before. Please go check that channel out. And then another channel that I've been watching recently is just called ellethinks, all smushed together as one word. El is incredibly direct and frank and interesting booktuber who covers all kinds of topics on her channel, and so I'm going to shout that channel out too. Anyway, there you go. There's Saturday Hodgepodge, such as it is for today. Hope some of that made sense. Look forward to your comments in the comment section below. Take part in the ill-defined art thing I put at the beginning if you want to. And as always, thanks for watching.